Welcome back to Three Swords Productions. Tonight we have Rob Lucci versus Katakuri, and I mean this honestly. Welcome back to set 3 top 8s. This is about to be fucking everywhere. This matchup is going to be so representative of the meta that it is crazy. What I hope personally is that Rob Lucci checks Zoro hard, and then we are in a yellow versus black just whole environment. So we'll see that, in the next couple weeks as we see, early tournament reports. And I hope I'm wrong, but this one is a fire matchup. So you ready to get started?
I most certainly am.
Let's go. All right, so that's actually Alex piloting the Katakuri, and shout out to Joku D&D for that fire alt leader there. So that is a Katakuri on the table there, and unfortunately we can't zoom in a little bit more here, but trust, it is immaculate. And that is Chad on the Rob Lucci side. Again, we were able to pick up a super nice alt leader during our box opening, so that was awesome. And so we have some swag for the stream.
Yeah, I do love the new alts. I prefer them much more than the faces. And I'm excited for, we are not supposed to talk about next set, but I like those alts leaders too.
Set 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, those words are banned around here. We are in day 2 of set 3. Please chill. So we're going to flip out 2 early Sanji Dons, and I love it. It is beautiful to see some Sanji Dons here. Spondum's going to come down, mill 2. One Spondum and one important Navy card. That is a 2K in the trash, and we're going to pick up a 4-cost vanilla. That card is actually pretty fire in this deck. I've been enjoying that one a lot.
Yeah, whenever I see my opponent play Spandum, I make sure to see the other 2 cards that they put in their grave, because if it's 2 CP9s, then I know their Kaku is turned on or any of those other cards.
Absolutely.
So when I see Spandum mill 3 navies, or they grab 1 CP9 and mill 2 navies, I'm pretty happy.
Right, so yeah, we're just a massive fan of brand new instead of Spandum. But anyways, we're going to see a counter out with that vanilla there, so we're not going to see any love for the vanillas on the channel tonight, I guess. Ugh. Rob Lucci's going to come across for 5 here, and that's a counter out with the Charlotte Opera there. And we're going to see Borsellino touchdown. Borsellino is actually quite impressive against the 5K Paros Sparrows there, so we're going to be able to block those pretty efficiently. But the leader is, of course, a 7K attacker, so that leaves us in an awkward position with the Borsellino. It is not going to get a free block against the leader.
Yeah, the best life trigger to get up first at the start of the game is a Paros Sparrow. Not only is he a 5K body, but he also finds a card if he dies, which he'll probably die early. The next best is Cracker, because if your opponent attacks your life and puts you down to 4 and they're at 5, then Cracker's turned on for double attack the very next turn.
Yeah.
And requires a counter out or a block.
I really like what I'm seeing here, that Borsellino made it super awkward for your Don this turn, and so instead of being able to play the Charlotte Cracker there that we see in hand, you had to don up your don up your pair of Sparrows in order to get across the Borsellino here. I like that a lot. I mean, that put you kind of in an awkward position. That slowed your board advancement down. Literally, progress was kind of stalled just because you played Borsellino. So that's going to give Rob Lucci some space here that he needs in order to play the big bombs like Sakazuki. Will we see a Sakazuki coming down this turn? I mean, that could definitely sway things. Of course, we also are holding Shockwave, and that will clean up Parasparrow nicely.
Yeah, I couldn't do a 5/5/5 swing with Borsellino on board, or I could have, but one of them would just be a waste.
Right.
But, I mean, you shouldn't sleep on the 6/6/8 swing.
Oh, no.
So the pressure's on. He has to clear these Paros, and when he clears those Paros, I get extra cards. And although you do like to have 5K or 6K bodies on board, by the time you start dropping big moms and Katakuris, it's just as fine that they were working so hard to clear these smaller guys, and now you're dropping much bigger guys. So you're just trying to get to those late game bombs.
Yep. And we're going to see Kaku come down and take care of the Paros Sparrow there. I always internalize Kaku as being destroy a 2-cost, but it's actually a 3, isn't it?
See, yeah, I think it's always like destroy a 3K or less, but no, it's a 3-cost or less.
Yeah, these we need, just more time with these leaders, and this is why it's super important to practice like early on, because we're gonna have like a wide breadth of different decks that we're gonna see in this meta. Set 3 is actually really exciting for that reason, is that people are gonna be playing a lot of different cards and strategies, and there's several different builds out there for all of these decks that are possible possible, because set 3 actually feeling pretty nice right now. So it's important to, spend your time early on practicing with these cards so that you actually start learning all of the cards as early and as quickly as possible. You don't want to be in situations that are tense, such as these really close matchups here, and have to figure out what these cards do. That's going to lead you in awkward positions for your tournaments. So we have, what is that, an Opera come down for 4?
No, that's a 7-drop Big Mom.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. I can see the text on the bottom here. Yeah, that actually looks a lot like the Opera. Wow.
So yeah, I did 2
drop.
5K swings into Big Mom, and that's the point I was making. He killed a 3K, or sorry, excuse me. He killed a Parasparrow 3-drop.
Yeah.
I got to grab a 10-drop Big Mom, I believe, and then boom. Now I'm swinging for even. It doesn't matter if the Borsellino blocks one of them for free. It still ends up being a card out of your hand until you clear these small bodies, but the small bodies draw me cards, and they just buy time for Big Moms and Katakuris to come out.
Yeah, I mean, 7-drop is such an immaculate middle game for the Katakuri deck. I think, actually, that's like probably the most impressive yellow card for me that come out of the starter deck for sure. I think without that 7-drop in your deck somewhere, Katakuri looks a lot weaker.
Yeah, I mean, 2 7-drop Big Moms if you're going first with 7 Don and 9 Don. It's pretty strong setup to your 10-drop Big Mom. But he has a good he has a good response with the E-Show. I have a lot of cards in hand. 6 which turns on the E-Show.
10-drop.
And he gets the 10-drop.
He got it?
He got it.
That looked like Cracker to me.
Nope, he got the 10-drop.
Okay.
The 10-drop that I had found with the Parasparrow. And that was the only 10-drop I had in my hand. But you'll soon see that I have the perfect answer to his E-Show, which he did not get.
All right, so we are going to untap here, and you don't have the 10 cost anymore. Or are you holding a second one in your hand?
No, I do not have a second one. But E-Show here is an 8-cost card. Yep. And yellow is pretty good against 8-cost cards.
So we have Katakuri in hand. That's going to clean it up. So look at the top card of your life. And Chad's going to take that, go down to 2.
Yeah, now with 6 cards in my hand, it was a low chance.
Yep.
But the most perfect thing you could have done is taking out the Katakuri and the 10-drop.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a super high roll.
I will actually accept that you had the Katakuri left. Big Mom is the higher priority for me.
100%. The 10-drop Big Mom is the chase card to get with an E-Show.
Because you played 7-cost Lin, you're not able to actually pressure your life total with the Rob Lucci, so you would have the exact spacing that you need in order to play the Big Mom, the 10-drop, easily, and that is not what Rob Lucci would have wanted to see. So I think we still have quite a bit of game here left to play because it's the Katakuri and not the Lin. So.
Yeah, delaying the 10-drop, the 10-drops just accelerate the game with the life gain and the life crit. And a 12k swinging every turn. Same thing as when set 1 Kaido, 10-drop Kaido would drop them on the board. You know this game's going to end pretty soon because when a 12k is swinging every turn, you're not long for this world.
All right, we're going to see Blue No come down. Now that he does have the Don in order to make that a blocker. And we also have, early on we discarded the vanilla, so we're going to have access to a 6K in the yard as well. And so if we're able to pressure life next turn, this could be the opening, the little bit of space that we need in order to take down Katakuri here.
Yeah, Black very much prefers the 7K Big Mom and the 8-drop Katakuri to be on the board. Those are well within the range of I can kill these cards. You would have liked to have the E-Show minusing their cost by 3. Then they really go extinct. But yeah, Katakuri coming down immediately, making sure the E-Show doesn't make all my cards minus 3 cost every turn was huge for me.
And that's going to be an attack for 9K coming across on the Rob Lucci. Will we block with Blue No? Get a 6K out of the graveyard here.
Yeah, looking at his grave, I don't believe he has...
I think he put it back. I think he put it back with Kaku earlier.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You want to make sure you don't put back the good CP9 cards from your grave. You want to make sure you have like one of each CP9 in your grave so that you can have a variety of choices on what you summon.
Well, with Fukuru out of the grave, of course, we're not going to have enough pressure on Katakuri's life total, but they are still at 4, so it wouldn't have quite been enough either way. So no trouble there. And Katakuri going to come across, of course, on the Borsellino. Shockwave coming down to take out the Brûlée. Now, that is going to be quite a nice opening here. Of course, Katakuri still has 6 Dawn left, so we are going to see a second Brûlée come down from hand at some point here. It looks like he's leaving 3 open just for that. Now, we do get to look at the top card of one of our lives here with this Katakuri attack. A bit of reconsidering. I'm going to try and reconfigure the optimal line. Maybe it's not come across for 9K again on the Rob Lucci, but I do like putting him down to 2, especially, his last life here is not useful. It's that Icho on the bottom. So he's going to be a bit struggling here. That is 8K. Did he point that at the Borsellino again?
No, that's a 9K, and I pointed at the 3-drop because, my line of thinking was I'll swing 5 on the 3-drop. It's a really easy attack to make with pudding. He'll block with the Borsellino, and then I'll focus the Borsellino. But I looked at my life, and I realized I have a Thunder Trigger. Now, Thunder Trigger actually kills Borsellino, but not the 3-drop, because Borsellino's effect is only activated on your opponent's turn. So I opted to leave the Borsellino on board and just kill the 3-drop, and if he goes after my life, that Borsellino is just dead for free.
Okay, so you need to swing high enough for the Borsellino to not want to block in order to make that happen. Okay, so that's pretty clever weaving of your Dawn usage there, and he still left 3 open for the Brûlée, so we did finish up on that line, and Rob Lucci's going to come across for 9K somewhere. Now, 9K is a bit awkward to come across for the attack on the Lin as well as the Katakuri. I mean, they're both 8Ks here, so will we see an attack evenly? We all know that's not going to be enough. We're going to need to see 2K over against yellow. They are going to be a deck that is running 12 2Ks, so we've got quite a few ways to counter out here. And we've got a second Shockwave in hand as well. That could clean up a Brûlée if he decides not to block this turn. Rob Lucci's effect still, of course, threatening the blocker. So it is a disincentive here to block. 9K on the Lin. That is a strange math here, so let's see how he's able to capitalize with the remaining Dawn here. I think we see another Borsellino coming down, leaving 2 Dawn open for Shockwave.
Yeah, so he wanted his cake and eat it too. He wanted to swing at the 8K, play a Borsellino, and hold up Shockwave.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had swung 2K over, he just gets the Brûlée. So there was a chance I didn't have a 2K. There's a chance he eats the Brûlée and can swing again. He's just trying to min-max his Dawn. And I know he has the Shockwave. That's why he left open 2 Dawn.
Right, yeah. Why
so I say, hey, Brûlée, you're getting in there to kill that Spandam.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you dying for free.
And that will keep it open. And again, we're not able to create that spacing thanks to the 7-cost Lin really being there. That heal 1 was quite insane. And it's still there. I mean, that life that we added with Lin earlier is still on the table. Turns out when you have an 8K attacking you, it's really hard to get in your opponent's face when they have 4 life. So that is immaculate spacing created from that starter deck card. So that card's going to be really, really insane. If you're not already playing that in your deck, really consider putting that in there because it fills a gap that Katakuri does not quite hit if you're on the play. If you're put on, 1 Dawn going first, it's really difficult to play the Lin because you just don't, or not the Lin, but the Katakuri just don't have the Dawn for it on that turn. So second Katakuri here, and that is brutal. Oof. He kind of took a suboptimal line there in order to get that Borsellino established, and to have that refuted with the Katakuri play there feels really punished.
Yeah, Katakuri getting a Isho or an Odin, any 8-drop is really nice, but Katakuri removing hard to answer blockers is also nice. Even if he's just putting the 3-drop unkillable blocker in their life, a Borsellino or a Marco. Katakuri cleanly answers that card, put it at the bottom of the life. Your opponent's not going to see it until the end of the game.
Absolutely. So now we have a respectable amount of power coming across. That looks like 11K to me. And 2Ks are going to get out. Again, putting not quite enough Dawn on our leader here is going to be the punishing difference. And so Keiko comes down and takes out the Brûlée. We could decide, let's untap 2, or let's, we're going to pay for the Kaku first before we decide what's going to happen with the Rob Lucci. But again, we could discard 2 cards from our hand here to untap the Rob Lucci. We are going to do that. So it looks like Alex thought we were going to pass, but no, we do want to swing again.
Yep, I was reminded that Kaku killing it also lets the Rob Lucci do his best kid impression. And I like this line because he could have just invested more Dawn into killing my 8-drop and then swing again and kill another 8-drop. But he seemed to have valued... 1, I have to have the counter power in my hand. But 2, he wanted to attack something, and then if I give up every card in my hand, he plays Kaku, kills something, and then he gets to attack again. And that gives him the extra body. So his choice was basically kill both 8-drops by putting all his Dawn on Rob Lucci, or kill one, maybe kill both, and establishing a 6K body.
Yeah, I mean, I think the options came down between, establish the Kaku or kill 2 8-drops. And I think in this stage of the game, we really need to clear that board as much as we can. I mean, you're 1 10-drop away from just closing the game hard. So you have the perfect opening with Rob Lucci here to kind of bust that door open for yourself, create some spacing for you to play the game a little bit better. And you're just weaving before, Yellow's next bomb. They are playing, 12 of those in some builds here. So it can be smothering if you don't get that spacing. So, I think Rob Lucci had a turn to take down 2 8-drop monsters and decided not to do so. So I think we're going to get punished for that a little bit here. But again, on this turn, this is 3 turns in a row, had the chance to take out 2 of them. Let's see if he takes it on the 3rd time.
Yeah, you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And sometimes you go for the greedy play, hoping they don't have any counter power in their hand, which is very possible with all the bombs that are in yellow.
Yeah.
It's trying to have your cake and eat it too. It's a high risk, high reward.
I'm certainly not ragging on Chad though, because it's unreasonable to think, hey, my opponent had 4 bombs or 5 bombs here, and every other card is a 2K. But that's exactly what Alex is representing. So this lucky monster over here is also kind of representing the punishing exact counters that he needs. And that's a little bit brutal too. So it is a fight on both sides here.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of Red. You're always hoping Red doesn't have all the rush cards in their hand, and then when you start swinging, that's when you hope they do, because then they'll have no counter power.
Exactly.
But when the red player has just the right amount of rushers and just the right amount of 2K counters, you're in for trouble, and that's the same thing with yellow.
Right. So, I mean, one of the things I'm looking at when I play, or when I make plays, especially when I'm choosing between 2 lines, is what's going to happen if I fail this attack? Where does that leave me? So, I think if he's successful, he was able to play the Kaku as well as clear 2 things a couple turns ago. But I think if he failed, he's left with a much weaker board than if he were to succeed. So, I think that is a question that you need to be asking, especially when you're playing Rob Lucci here. Thinking about what can I use to attack with, because if my attack fails, where does that leave me? And that's an incredibly important question to ask. So now we've got the board cleaned up here, and we've got 4 Don left over. We do have another Borsellino in hand. That's going to come down, and that's going to really help out. Now, we're not susceptible. Maybe I'm wrong about the other Borsellino in hand. We might have eaten through all of them now. Spondum can actually dig for a blue no. I think we have exactly enough Don to do that. So will we see Spondum come down, try and get that blue no off the top? Ooh, did not find it. We did find another Spondum. Of course,
can't grab himself.
But even if we could, we wouldn't have enough Don to do all the things necessary. So we're going to play brand new here.
Yeah, so he had 2 Borsellinos in hand, I believe, but he only had 7 Don because he attached 3 lead.
Oh, those are Borsellinos. Okay, I thought they were. So the Borsellino is good. That's pretty much what we need to see. But yeah. At this time, not quite what we need, and 2 big attacks here is going to be enough. And all right, let's go back to the booth. Man, that was really tough. I mean, it was close. I think absolutely Rob Lucci would have gotten paid off if those attacks had been clean. But the massive amount of 2Ks that Yellow is packing in these builds, especially as we all practice and get in those situations against Rob Lucci, it is exhausting to fight through that. And I think you're just going to have to make concessions as to the characters that you're playing on board. Maybe you go a little bit insufficient or inefficient here, give up something so that you can absolutely guarantee, hey, I'm 4K over what I need. That's going to die, and the next thing's going to die. And that's just how you have to take out these monsters, because they are really threatening. He was never granted the opportunity to really save himself. Literally, the only reason he lasted for so long is because Katakuri was healing him. And it just felt, it felt kind of rough there.
Yeah, the pressure was on in the beginning. The first life he took was a Sparrow.
Yep.
So I already had 3 attackers on board. He finally got the Isho, got really good value, killed the 10-drop.
Yep.
But then perfect answer, Katakuri, get rid of Isho. And now you're answering 2 AK bodies. And then he, the problem with black is it's a lot of small characters, usually around 6K in the form of Kaku, all them. But your biggest body is your Isho. And usually black decks only run 2 or 3 of him. And, you know, I'm still gaining life, and he knows that if he attacks the life, there's more triggers coming out. You know, life is supposed to be a comeback mechanic, and it's an even stronger comeback mechanic when they're all triggers.
Yeah, and when your opponent finds them all. And you found like a hefty amount of those, as well as, you know, a lot of 2Ks. Alex in that matchup was kind of goated. Those were a hefty amount of counters, but you know, I still look back and I'm really, really impressed with Rob Lucci in that matchup because there were so many opportunities where, you know, your opponent, I think you played like what, 5 or more bombs that game. And I mean, it was massive, and Rob Lucci was just dispatching all of them, took out every single card in your hand, and then started, you know, taking the board away. And if at any point we could, you know, keep a Borsalino on the table, we would have been in an immaculate spot there, but a little bit too difficult under the pressure there, under the weight. But yeah, I'm actually putting Rob Lucci at a higher power level after watching that game because of the ability. I mean, it's that kid ability, right? Or while being Dawn efficient, because instead of paying 3 Dawn, you're just discarding an extra card.
Yeah, Rob Lucci is Green Kid, but instead of tapping cards like Green does, I kill cards.
And instead of having to kill rested characters, you get to kill active characters.
Yeah, so I think Rob Lucci is very competitive.
I think
you'll see definitely good Rob Lucci players in top 8.
I mean, I think we're going to see a more refined deck list for one. I think the deck list is going to be the make or break on Rob Lucci, but again, it's going to be a lot of grinding away. I mean, definitely, you guys, you know, you pay attention to our channel because we're going to be posting a lot more Rob Lucci content in going forward. And if you are enjoying the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like this video, consider liking this video as well. And if we did anything wrong or you think there's anything we can improve on, please let us know in the comments, and we will see you in the next one. Good night.